Tonight will pass. We will see what happens tomorrow. But we will die standing, or we will stand and defeat the enemy. We are Shia Muslims, and we have an infinite faith in God. And we know that the path that we've chosen is the right path. Our sin is that we support the Palestinian people, not because we're from the same clan, not because we're from the same race, not because we're from the same sect, not because we have the same language, and not because we're even neighbors, because they're victims. They've been victims for many decades. And now they're being slaughtered. And the West supports this slaughter. The collective West is behind the slaughter. The liberal democracies, as they like to call it, they fully endorse the slaughter. They will do whatever is possible to make it happen, to allow it to happen. Just like when Trump says that Iran will be obliterated and none of the Western media says anything, whether it's his opponents or his supporters, whether it's the Guardian or the Times in London, whether it's the New York Times or Breitbart, doesn't make a difference. When he says that he will send Iran back to the Stone Age, no one in the West is outraged. You do not see the Washington Post outraged. You do not see MSNBC outraged. Just like with Cuba, they starve the country. Just like with Syria, they enable ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The political establishment, when it comes to empire, they are brutal and immoral. So they are crushing the Palestinian people. For 2.5 years, the Palestinian people have been enduring genocide. And the only thing that stands between their complete annihilation, their extermination, is the axis of resistance. It is the Islamic Republic of Iran and its regional allies. That is our sin, but we cannot forsake the Palestinian people. It is not doable. It is not possible. We'd rather die standing than live or die on our knees. It's just not a choice that we can accept. I've discussed this on your show before, that we have a deep connection with what the Prophet's grandson did in Karbala, in defiance of the despot of his era. Hussein stood up against the tyrant of the time, and he and his companions were all martyred for the sake of what was right. And his sister continued the cause. This is deeply embedded in our culture. That is why you see men and women on the streets at night under missile fire. They target them with their missiles. As I told you last week, just near where I am now, I think I explained this last week, that a woman was murdered when they fired a missile at one of these crowds. They fire missiles at crowds. And the Western media and Western elites are completely indifferent. They justify it. If they had any humanity, one of these Western journalists with all their followers would have tweeted, "This is outrageous. We are committing crimes against humanity." Have you seen a single important Western journalist over the last week express outrage at the threat of bringing about the greatest Holocaust by far in human history? Have you seen any of these journalists at CNN or MSNBC or Sky News or the BBC. In fact, the BBC is so sinister, so evil, that one of their journalists claimed that people inside Iran are saying you can use nuclear weapons against us. Utterly evil. The BBC is utterly evil. It was always like this. I know. I've been dealing with the media for all these years. And all of those people who've contributed to the lies of Western media over these years, to demonize Iran, to spread lies, whether it was about Mahsa Amini, who was never murdered, who was never beaten, or the lies about tens of thousands of peaceful protesters being slaughtered by the Iranian police, all lies. And now we see Trump himself admitting that he sent weapons to these protesters. If these were spontaneous protesters, who was he sending the weapons to? He was sending the weapons to those networks inside Iran that were getting their orders from outside. You just don't send weapons and put them in a street corner or in the middle of a square. You have people. So this was an armed insurrection, but Western media closed their eyes. And these so-called intellectuals, these leftists, some of them who pretend to be opposed to the mainstream, they repeated them. They have blood on their hands, every single one of them. Every single one of them have blood on their hands. Because it was very comforting for them. It was very easy for them to repeat the narratives. It made them more both acceptable in the mainstream, while they could also pretend to be subversive. They lied. They lied, but they've been lying about Iran for 47 years. The moral compass is here in Tehran. This is the country that opposes genocide. All other countries are complicit. Except for, of course, Iran's allies, whether it's Yemen or Hezbollah and the resistance in Iraq, or those who support the resistance, who are in the hundreds of millions across the world now, if not billions. The supporters of the axis of resistance are going by the hour. And who are we standing up against? We're standing up against the tyrant of our time, who has the full support of the... Have you seen one European country call out Trump during the last week? Have you seen one European official say, you're a monster, you're a mass murderer, you want to carry out a Holocaust? None. So what is Iran's sin? It's its independence and its support for the Palestinian people. That is not coming to an end. Tonight will pass. We will see what happens tomorrow. But we will die standing, or we will stand and defeat the enemy.